GAMERDJINN Candor. We're here doing a not really a walkabout, but we're talking about something right now, and I felt like it was an interesting conversation. I heard a story that it got me thinking, and ladies and gentlemen, it's one thing to make policies, right? And mind you, policies are there to basically make sure that certain things don't happen, certain things do happen. Like for instance, in schools, certain policies are there to protect the not only the staff but the kids as well, right? Problem is, how far is too far between you and me? This story is about a policy that went completely off the rails. So apparently, when parents, hey, how's it going? Hey, no, it's cool. And YouTube is just dumb with that stuff. And this is what I'm talking about. When it comes to policies, and sometimes they don't know what their policies are, and they try to pull the old, oh well. So yeah, thank you for returning, Loki. I appreciate it, and do me a ginormous favor and like and spread the word, like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Anyway, so here's the part that cracks me up about certain policies. Like I was saying, the story basically I read. Well, actually, it's more of I heard. It was a YouTube story, one of those shorts that is explaining certain things. The story is basically about the school uh, creating a no contact policy. It's one thing to create said policy because some people. The problem was it went completely off the rails. It made no fucking sense, especially when it said no contact ever. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, there should be a leeway there. Ladies and gentlemen, never put an ever policy there because there are always circumstances. Sky Rose, thank you very much for checking out my video. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Anyway, as I was saying, so whenever you put a policy that is basically so rigid that it can't even bend, it means that you are literally doing more harm than good. How do I know that? Well, think about it this way. When you put up these kind of policies, there is no where it says no room for error. It should be this way. And mm, mm, ladies and gentlemen, what about emergencies? You never put those kind of policies in because there's always a case of emergencies. There's always going to be a case for emergencies, and if you don't put one up there, it is a recipe for disaster. Magd, thank you very much for checking out my video. Um, and the reason I say that is because think about it this way. And this is exactly what the story was happening. This principal basically got berated by all kinds of people, mostly parents that really need to shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, guys, I hear these stories, and it's a lot of times it has to do with parents overreaching or administration just don't want to hear it from anybody else, so they create policies that just don't make fucking sense. Well, welcome back. Honestly, welcome back. But anyway, the reason and like I said, the story is basically like I was saying, these people basically put on a policy that you can the administration cannot under any circumstances come in contact with uh, elite toxic flame. Please don't be toxic on this. Hopefully that's just a cute little nickname. Please don't be toxic on here because I will uh, throw you off my channel. Fair warning. Don't be a troll, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. Please don't be a troll. I don't allow trolls on my channel. It's like, and I'm not talking about because of the way you look. It's just don't be that guy. Okay, cool. I'm cool with that. That's awesome, and it's a sick gamer tag. I'll admit that is an amazing gamer tag. Just don't be toxic, please. Because I've had more than a few times where I've had days where I had to tell someone get off my channel because they're being trolls, and I'm kind of, you know. But do me a ginormous favor, guys. You guys are coming in. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Thank you very much. And I do not speak your language, Zelum Gamer. I'm sorry, I don't speak your language. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, so as the story goes, as I was trying to say, there are certain policies. Oh, Hindi. Sorry, I don't speak Hindi. Sorry about that. I speak Spanish and English. That's the only two languages I know. I know bits and pieces of other languages, but nothing conversational. Spanish is the only fluent language I know, aside from English. Anyway, so as I was saying, students, sometimes they can be. There are times where I'm playing a game and it plays a song, and it was a really good song. Problem is though, there are certain parts that don't allow said song, and it's not United States YouTube that gives me shit, but it's other countries that say, oh well, we don't like it because it's copyrighted. I'm like, dude, it's not copyrighted. It's part of the game, and I made it very fucking clear, but they still try to copyright it, which is so stupid. Anyway, as I was saying, policies are good if it protects and, you know, engineers a purpose. Problem is, if it doesn't do both, then it is not worth the policy. So let me explain. Like I was saying, this policy, it went off the rails because there was a couple of incidents in the story that I felt like the policy was not working. One where, you know, in fitness, sometimes the kids need, you know, gentle. So there was a couple of kids that basically trying to do, you know, deadlifts and everything, and the teacher, by apparently the policy, could not help this kid, you know, lift. Mind you, it was exceedingly dangerous that he couldn't touch this kid because yeah, yeah, like now I have to I had to get rid of one guy on here right now, and yeah, trust me, I remember more than a few times, and yeah, you were definitely there, my dude. uh it's annoying because a lot of people try to be a good person, but see, that's another example what I'm talking about. People get on my channel and they just basically try to be a troll, and I don't accept that shit. I don't accept it. Green, you can go fuck yourself. Anyway, like I was saying, so I was having the conversation about. I get interrupted. I don't know what the fuck is going on with these people. So, like I said, the story basically goes down. These administrators are trying to basically make policies that does not work correctly because apparently some teacher or somebody decided to complain that people are getting too close to kids, and I'm like, yes, first of all, if the contact seems a little too long, that's understandable. It seems a little off, but ladies and gentlemen, hey, how's it going? Thank you. Come here. Thank you very much for checking out my video. No, it's actually my room. Fuck you. Anyway, as I was saying, so if you guys are gonna put out policies out there in life, make sure that they're reasonable. Either they serve the purpose of protection or prevention. If they don't do both, ideally, then please don't make them up. No, what I need is assholes to get like you get off my channel. So Steve, if you're not gonna be nice, get off the land. Fuck you. I hate people like that. I hate when people do pull shit and they like, okay, fuck you then. Well, I'm offended the fact that you think it's okay to get on my channel and start being a dickhead. It's one thing to be uh slightly mean. I'm okay with it. But if your first and only example is, oh no, yeah, you're spreading heat because you're trying to pull the I'm slightly overweight bullshit, and I don't tolerate that bullshit. Now get off my channel. Um. Okay, then why the fuck are you getting on my channel and trying to tell me that I either live in my mom's basement, or dude, you're just shaming. You're just trying to be a fucking troll, and I don't allow trolls on my channel. If you're gonna be on here, be respectful, man. Especially the fact that if I allow assholes like you on my channel, it's gonna basically have a flood of people on my channel trying to pull this shit, man. No, it's cool, Loki. If he, I'm just talking about random shit like policies that do more harm than good. Like I said, I've heard stories, horrifying stories, where administrations do really stupid rules and it backfires on them horrifically. Like I said, some of my favorite stories is basically the where the administration just doesn't have a fucking spine, and they try pulling administrative bullshit, and then later they realize, oh shit, yeah, we should have done this. Gee, I wonder why. It's not like, there was warning signs here left and right. It's not like, oh, I don't know, the kid over there had a, well, that's what I'm saying. Like examples, the examples, some of them were more of, they didn't really give explicit where these people were, but like this, like I was telling you the story about this administration, and they basically were trying to create a no contact rule, which is good on paper, but the way it was laid out, basically no contact in any way, shape, or form, even though there were certain times that contact was okay. Like for instance, like if you're in weight training, you need to be in contact so you can spot somebody, so in case of emergencies, right? Or in case, that was just one example. Another one would have been if someone was like doing the wrestling and you had to perform a certain move, but the only way you can teach them that is basically show them with their body. And yes, folks, if you guys are trying to be if you're trying to be a jackass and say, well, what, that sounds gay, I'm like, dude, if you've ever been in wrestling, it's nothing but grappling. It is literally contact and no homo. And believe me, folks, and it is literally, and the one problem I have, a lot of people have, is wrestling has nothing to do with sex in any way, shape, or form. It's just basically control. And I've been in wrestling, and no, I'm not homosexual. I'm not gay. And if you are, go for it. Whatever. I don't give two shits. But the problem I have with society these days is when people get too close to each other, they automatically think sex, 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 sex. And again, just Get that mind out of your head. Get that thought out of your head, please. Anyway, and that's the drawback about these policies is a lot of times is it's these teachers or these overprotective parents thinking, well, I'm not going to let my kid being a gay wad, so I'm not letting these policies land. So I'm making a policy that nobody can touch my children. Again, it's one thing to be smart about certain policies. It's another thing to be an idiot and think all an over incumbent blanket of a rule would benefit everyone. It won't, because it actually didn't. Because the later part of the story goes, um, in the middle of some kind of class, this kid starts convulsing. He starts losing consciousness, gasping for air, um, and apparently, according to the policy, nobody was allowed to touch him. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. In emergencies like this, the best way to do it is basically give him CPR. You know, the whole chest compressions, making sure he's still breathing, right? But apparently, according to this policy, it's if you touch him, you're fired. I'm like, what the fuck kind of policy is that? If it's protecting the student or anybody that is having a medical episode, this should be an automatic exemption from said rule because you're protecting someone's life. But no, apparently, according to the like some jackass comes in looking like the guy from Mall Cop, saying you can't touch the guy or you're fired. Tries to tackle the teacher, saying you can't touch him, you can't touch him. It's policy, it's policy. And then the fucking one of the other teachers comes in. It's a gym teacher because he was pissed off at what was going on because he couldn't protect one of his kids from being choked because of a fucking weight. Long story short, the teacher basically tackled Barney Fife, said, fuck you, fuck your policy, I'm saving this kid. And if you have an issue, I'm going to talk to the administration and sue all your asses. Fuck you. Excuse me while I save a life. And he did. Saved the life of this kid. And he went to the board and said, you know what, this policy is bullshit, and whoever made it up has no idea of the repercussions would have been. So let me ask you this: do you think policy should be going through the letter, or they should be allowing leeway? I think they should be allowing leeway because, again, there's such a thing as emergency situations. There's always a chance for emergency situations. And we should always be allowed at the discretion of said situation so we can improve odds of survival. Like, for instance, an earthquake. There's times where certain policies actually hinder I've actually heard stories where during an earthquake or a evacuation, I've actually heard stories where there was a teacher that basically said, "I am in control here. You do not leave unless I say so." And just for everybody trying to get up and doing whatever, we're not leaving. Sit down. Even though the place was fucking on fire. Hey, I'm on your side. I'm on your side, my dude. Because between you and me, when it comes to these policies, again, it's one thing to make a policy that helps protect and prevent. Because again, that's the whole point of a certain rules is to make sure that society doesn't collapse under their own stupidity. But the problem is when that stupidity comes from the policy itself. When that happens, it demonstrates how stupid and short-sighted certain people are. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, so they make it look they're going through the motions and make policies thinking, well, this will work immensely. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, what about emergencies? It's like, this is the emergency. The fuck?
does that? How is it? How is it? This is the emergency when what if this happens? It's like, well, this policy is made for all emergencies. No, it isn't, because according to the policy, I've heard so many stories where it goes, if this policy is enacted, then that means that if in case of a real emergency like a fire or an earthquake, you'll be putting the people in danger. You'll literally be condemning them to die. And the administration is like, well, what's the odds of that happening? It doesn't matter. The fact that there are odds at all, the fact that there isn't, the number isn't negative, even though it's like an in like dot 0.0000000 chance. No, and it's true, man. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? And again, it stemmed, mind you, I've heard the story, and it just basically stemmed from one person or a group of people thinking that they have foresight in thinking, well, this rule is going to protect everyone. How is it protecting everyone when Jimmy over here almost killed himself lifting a weight that he couldn't lift, and his teacher was prevented from giving him a spot? I'm pretty sure the other students helped him, but still, the teacher couldn't help him because the policy didn't allow him. Or over here, when uh, Steven over here was trying to learn a grappling move, but he couldn't learn it correctly because the teacher didn't allow. It's whatever, man. As long as it ends, it's cool. I'm the fact that you came on here and said I'm sorry. It's that's fine. I'm willing to forgive as long as it doesn't happen again. Please and thank you. I mean, like I said, I don't mind a little roasting here and there, but like, just be respectful about it, okay? I was like, it's one thing. See what I mean? Anyway, but like I said, this is one of the reasons why I feel like the society is going to shit, because it's always these little small minded people that just can't fathom the fact that, hey, um, I am, I want to put a little control, and I thought, well, I don't like the fact that I saw what I saw. So you never thought, hey, what's the context here? Because there's always context, ladies and gentlemen. Whether or not it's good context or bad context, it really is. You have to be very, very important and understand that there is a context. Um, and there's always this situation. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's one, I don't like the idea of predators being out there, but the problem is, if you're going to label everybody and everyone and anyone a predator, then how are we going to find the real ones that do the most horrific shit and punish them? Because everybody is going to suspect someone else. I've heard many stories at the same time where it's lady uh, uh, father taking their child to a random park. You can't do that anymore because there's always going to be that very small chance, mind you, but there's a chance where you go to the park with your little boy or little girl as a father, and your father, you being mind you, that's the other thing that gets me is, because of assholes like this, real predators are not being found, because everybody else thinks that you, just because you're a man, you're a predator automatically just because you're around kids. Even though, like, you're thinking to yourself, but my child is right over there. She's on the swing. And I've heard a story where it was basically that same concept, where this gentleman comes in with his little girl, and the little girl goes into the swings, and she starts having fun, and the guy's just sitting there making sure she's cool, and this lady comes in and is like, "What are you doing here, you pervert?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm already hearing the story, and I'm already hearing the first few lines of the story, and I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong?" And the lady is just basically saying, "I don't like the fact that you're here by yourself, you know, looking at kids." And I'm like, "I'm not looking at my kid. I'm not looking at kids. I'm hanging out with my daughter. She's over there playing." It's like, I don't even believe that is your daughter. The fuck? First of all, mind your own damn business. Ladies and gentlemen, unless, and I'm going to say this right now, unless the child is basically saying, I don't know you, or anything of that nature, mind your own damn business. If the child is just having fun and you see that they're having a blast and there is no physical or emotional thing going down there, don't automatically assume the fucker is a fucking pedophile, because there are actual pedophiles out there that act just as normal, and they are sick as motherfucker. And believe me, folks, there's always ways to differentiate between a real pedophile and a loving father. Mind you, here's the thing though, and here's a fun fact: pedophiles are both gender, and I do see two genders, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to be very controversial, and I'm going to say it right now. Biologically, there's only two genders. Biologically, you could say all about the whole pan, whatever, dude. I don't care. You could say you're a robot for all I fucking care. I don't care. But biologically, there's only two genders. So the fact that the media is trying to tell you that there was more than one, and the fact that I've actually saw an application. What do you identify as? Male, female, or blah 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 blah? I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, knock that shit off. The fact that governments are procreating this thought process that they're trying, you know what they're trying to do, guys? They're basically trying to be they're trying to bend over backwards for these what they call woke people. Don't get me wrong, woke is one thing. It's another thing to make it an actual agenda. It's the fact that the governments are allowing this, and I hate to say this. I know this is a very confrontational subject, but the fact that the governments and you see in a lot of these people going, well, I'm binary. I'm like, good for you, honey, good for you. But to me, you just look like a guy trying to look like a girl. If that's the way you swing, go for it. I don't care. I don't care. But don't try to tell me that I gotta tell you. I gotta come tell you that you are a girl. Like again, I don't really care if you're a boy or a girl. I don't give two shits about that. What the the problem I have is you're trying to shove it down my throat. You're trying to tell me how I should tell you, and I'm gonna tell you how I see it. Whether I'm wrong or right, that's a different story. But I don't like the idea of being told that I have to treat you this way because you are offended. You're not being treated this way. See, that's the problem I'm always having. See, it always comes down to policies, guys. It's always these policies are always made up by these people with a fucking agenda. Whether they're bored, yes, folks, there's an actual agenda about people just wanting to fuck up the system. Whether or not it's the actual agenda itself or it's just themselves being offended. And that's another problem I'm always having is like these people get offended way too fucking easily. I'm like, you're offended because people are living their lives. So you try to make rules so it makes it easier for you to live yours. It makes it harder for them to live theirs. How selfish the fuck are you when you have to make a policy so that you don't feel offended? Well, guys, I'm offended you exist. I'm offended that you think that I give two shits about your offension. I don't care. I'm offended that you think that your policy overrides my right to do whatever the fuck I want. Ladies and gentlemen, I live in a country that generally respects my laws, my rights as a human being. I said generally because there are times, and again, policy, rules, like laws, and whatever, that they're trying to pass that certain unalienable rights become obsolete. Ladies and gentlemen, personally, I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole different story and that's a whole different video. I might even do it someday, but I'm not going to do it right now. But bottom line right now is I am so proud that I live in a society that my rights are generally respected by the general government. But the problem is it goes both ways. And it always should go both ways. And I don't mean sexually. So don't even go there. And what I mean by that is I respect you, you respect me, and we end our little transaction here. Because if you don't end it here, well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks really, really petty on your part. It really does. It looks really petty and it looks really stupid that later you find out, oh shit, he was just trying to live his life. Well, no harm done. Well, not exactly, because I've heard many stories similar to that. Is basically someone's living their life, and then all of a sudden, they have a lawsuit on their ass because they didn't mind their own damn business. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the most sue-happy country on earth. Yes, folks, I am not bullshitting. It not may not be the biggest, but we're definitely up there. I'm saying the top five, and I do mean top five, and that is a bad flex that we can put out. I'm pretty sure lawyers get a good share of that money because it's just I'm pretty sure there's a lawyer lounge where all kinds of lawyers are sitting there going, man, I got some guy lawsuiting it for some bullshit, man. It's like, don't we all, bro? Come on, man. That's the funny thing about being a lawyer nowadays. Is like you just I'm I'm a def I'm a defense lawyer and I'm doing pretty well myself. I got 5 cases just in the next 10 minutes. Like it's just getting ridiculous. Well, not in a sense where I don't want it. I mean, it's money, 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 and that is the saddest part. I'm being very facetious when it comes to that joke, but under certain circumstances, am I lying? Tell me, guys, am I lying about that joke? Because we have the most sue happy society, and it's just ridiculous that people think, well, it's okay, it's okay, we can sue them. And I'm like, yeah, is it though? Is it though? Is it okay that we have policies that we can basically go up to someone and I can just basically say, I don't like the fact that you did that job the way you did, and I'm gonna sue you for it. Or, like for instance, someone I've actually heard this one that was actually really funny, where this lady comes into this teacher's school and says, I don't like the fact that you're teaching my kids science, and I'm gonna sue you for that. And I'm like, it's a legitimate class, so why would you sue me for teaching your kid science? Well, I don't believe in science, so I'm suing you for teaching my kid witchcraft. It's like, what the fuck? First of all, if you do realize each state has its requirements, And I'm pretty sure in every single 50 states that we have in the United States and most countries in around the world have requirement for science. Want to know why? Because we don't want people mixing ammonia with bleach and unaliving themselves. No, we do not teach them that what happens, but we do teach them that certain things in life have their rules. And I do mean life. Life actually has their own rules, believe it or not, folks. Their own policies. But the thing is, the difference between our policies and life's policies, they teach you a lesson. They don't just try to control you. They teach you a lesson. Like for instance, if somebody drops a cinder block on your toe, that's a life lesson not to do that ever again, because it's gonna hurt like a motherfucker. Unless you have steel toes, and even then, it's still bruise. The point is, ouch, ouch, ouch means, uh-oh, nope, not touching that again. There's a difference between that and, well, we don't want you around our children. I did nothing wrong. I don't even have a record that we know of. First of all, you don't know me. You have nothing to. You have no idea, and you have no real evidence that I've done anything to anyone and ever. All I'm here is, again, I'm going back to the story about the little boy and the little girl playing with her dad. You have no idea who I am. By the way, and here's the fun part. Pulls out a card, hands it to the lady. She looks down and there's two reactions. One, my favorite, is she's shocked, her hair turns white, and she just realizes she just basically berated a lawyer that can easily sue her for defamation. Yes, folks, it's that simple. Somebody says something that you don't like, that doesn't seem to be true in any way, shape, or form, that is regarding someone else, they can send you to a defamation suit. Defamation is basically saying, I didn't do what they're saying. It's completely false, and you have no. It's more of you have no proof that this is true. And that one's easier to basically say you have no proof about this. That's the only reason people say defamation, is because you have no proof. Not because it's not true, it's because you can't prove it. Let's get that straight, folks. And a lot of people say, well, what is the biggest, like, what's going on there? And it's like, well, again, you got to really, really look into the laws and look at the wording. Because if you look at the wording compared to how it's celebrated, how it's done for initially, there is a big, ginormous difference between how it's written, because it has to say something say something really specific, and that's how lawyers get it. Is you have to look at the letter of the law, and the letter of the law actually does have meaning, whether it's implied or written. Sometimes it's mostly written, but a lot of times when they see that law, they see the they see the underlying meaning, whether it's explicit or not, because a lot of times most people just take it as it's gossip. But a good lawyer, a great lawyer, sees certain word phrasing, and they think to themselves, oh, oh, ooh, yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why they call it the devil in the details. Because a lot of people just are allergic to reading. And that's why they teach you in school to read the directions, because sometimes the directions can be wrong. So again, when you're reading into a contract, read the fine print, ladies and gents, because believe me, there's a big difference between, you know, the policies that most places have, like YouTube, when they tell you, hey, we got a policy, and you are going against it. Well, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, that has nothing. You are literally not, for the most part, going against certain policies. Like, for instance, my dude Loki here. I'm pretty sure that you did nothing to do with anything that. It just means that YouTube is basically trying to use certain policies and certain wordings to get you into trouble, and they're justifying said rules and regulations to fucking penalize you for whatever reason and any reason at all. You probably don't even. You're probably not even in violation at all. They're just trying to use certain phrasing in their policy to justify certain things. So again, out there, look at the policies, guys, and determine to yourselves whether or not they are beneficial or they prevent. Again, it's those are the only two options when it comes to policies that should be allowed, whether they benefit the society, or, you know, the institution, or if they prevent certain things that happen. Like I said, again, there's examples for beneficial. Like, if, for instance, there's a policy in a restaurant that allows for faster paperwork to be done, or a policy that allows you to get the workout faster, then it is beneficial. It is beneficial. Second one is prevention. Prevention is, well, that's what it is. It's basically making sure that you and others are safe under certain circumstances. Like, for instance, the best way example of preventative policies is, like, for instance, every restaurant and every household should have a fire extinguisher to prevent fire, because it's safe. It prevents people from being harmed, things like that, and it makes perfect fucking sense because it is a policy that helps prevent lives hurt or lost. And again, if both of them come together, believe me, folks, it's a better society, a better. Tell me, you wouldn't want to go into a job that basically says, well, you have to be in the chair all day long at 12 hours a day. Dude, your back would be destroyed by that time, by the end of the day. And they say, well, you can't go to the bathroom. What about my biological functions? You don't have biological functions. Do I look like an android to you, motherfucker? I have to get up every now and again. What about food? What about drink? You don't need that. The fuck I don't. After 8 hours, I might need some. I might get hungry. After 4 hours, I might get hungry. You don't need to eat. Yeah, fuck I do. What about drinks? Drinks are not allowed. Drinks not allowed. What the fuck? I was like, can I just get up, and if you get up from your chair, you will be fired. That is the policy. See what I'm talking about here, guys? That's just examples of policies that did not make sense in any way, shape, or form, because it doesn't prevent. Well, I mean, technically they do prevent, but the problem is it goes against the second rule. Because again, it's prevention and improvement. How does it improve? It doesn't. It prevents. But if it prevents more than it does help, it is not a good policy. So here comes in my third rule. Does it make fucking sense? Does it make sense for the environment? Like, again, It would make sense certain other places, but when it comes to the job you're doing or the location or whatever, does certain rules make sense to you? Does it benefit you as a person or a worker? If it does, well, that's the whole point. Because again, it has to be ideally three, two out of the three, two out of three. Because again, the third one doesn't have to make sense. Sometimes it doesn't. But again, as long as it corresponds to three, two of the three, ideally one and two. The third one is more of a check note. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't worry, there's going to be a new one. I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 4, the original Resident Evil 4. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Tell me what you guys think of the upcoming months. Yes, we're going to be doing 2 months of horror. Mind you, not September is not going to be full on horror. It's going to be more horror towards the latter of the month because it's going to be closer to Halloween. So if I do anything else aside from horror, do not be upset because again, the closer it is going to be closer to October is when I'm going to be start doing horror more extensively because I do have some games that I want to play extensively, but today is just gonna be one of those days. I might even not even play Resident Evil 4 today. I'm even considering doing 2 other games that I can think of. I'm either doing Spider-Man. I hope you guys enjoy Spider-Man, and I actually love Spider-Man myself. Or some other ones that I can think of. Again, if you guys want to see more of horror, tune into the latter part of my latter part of September because that is going to be my time where I'm going to be doing extensively horror games, and I've already downloaded like 3 or 4 games for horror, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Either horror or dark mysteries. I've already got like 4 or 5 games already tuned up for that. So the game itself is going to be a fun time. So I will be making sure that certain games are going to be played throughout the months. And obviously, some of them are going to be fun. Some of them are going to be a little thought-provoking. So if you guys enjoy dark humor, dark mysteries, and horror in general, tune in. And if you love just adventure in general, also tune in. Tune in general. Sorry. Take care, guys. This is your friendly neighborhood GAMERDJINN, Candor. Wishing you love, luck, happiness, and hoping I don't go into politics. We'd all be fucked. Take care.